Hello, welcome to Facebook Live. We've had to switch over to, through technical issues, to our Facebook Live on our personal Facebook, but Purina is hooking up with us and they're going to follow us on our Facebook Live. So we're doing this, this is tips for puppy owners and puppies through this unusual time and in New Zealand and the world. And so in this situation, we've got to make sure that during this 3 to 16 week period, the formative period in a pup's life is when 70 to 80% of their brain is wiring up. We've got to make sure that they get the basics that they need at least. And so as you know, I've got a virtual puppy school that you can go to, so pop onto that if you want to follow in more depth. But this is the basics that I want all the Purina people that follow us today to understand. And thanks to Purina, and we've got Kim behind the camera there.
Hi everyone, just to let you know we'll be taking questions and things, so give us a hello to see who's there and just answer and we'll answer your questions as we go as well. So thanks for waiting for us, and sorry about all the technical issues.
Yeah, it's at this time, of course, getting live video going in New Zealand is a bit of a trick sometimes. So we're really going to focus on the Puppy Zen book as the basis to what we're teaching, and this has got all the theory and the techniques. This little green bit in the back here, you can see, is the weekly to-dos, and so that's what we're following very intensively on the Puppy Zen school, on the virtual puppy school. Hey, you got Jody? You got to introduce Jody? Jody, come.
And hello to Marcy from Hamilton. Thanks so much
Jody,
for
come.
saying hello.
Jody, come.
And let's have a look at wee Jovi. So how do we know Jovi, Mark?
So Jovi is Jovi's our little 8-week-old pup that we're working with. We've been working with Jovi's litter since 3 weeks. So you'll see in the long run we'll have a full 3 to 16 week online program. But at the moment, the virtual puppy school is taking it from 7 weeks through to 16 weeks, and so you can follow us on that and get the real detail. But this is the crux to what I want you to understand for those Purina team that are following us here today. And we had, of course, a great relationship with Purina on Pound Pups to Dog Stars. So of course now we're dealing with, instead of solving problems at the bottom of the cliff like we were in that show, this is about preventing problems. Prevention's better than cure, which is a big push for us over this next year. And the book, of course, notifies that. So the 4 things I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at the bond, and the bond is the absolute critical... Jody, come. Jody, good boy, come. Jody, come. Is the absolute critical thing that we're after. So this is what I call the dog Zen down. He's just gone into a nice Zen down. And so there's 2 or 3 important parts to the what I call the join-up, which is the bonding of a dog. There's 2 sides to the bonding. There's the psychological bonding, which is what I'm working on now, which is my relationship with the dog. And then there's the site-specific bond, which is the crate and the clip station, where we want them to bond to the area as well, so they are comfortable when separated from us when we're away.
And we've got a few other people saying hello to us, Mark. We've got Sharon from Whangarei and Tui from Tauranga and Colleen from Levin and Hamilton as well. So nice to get a lovely range across the country.
It is.
Yeah.
Great.
So we're going to talk about the 4 critical things that puppies need to learn in our current circumstances. And if you've got a puppy, obviously things are a little bit different. So Mark's going to go through those 4 critical parts.
Yeah, so we're talking about the bond at the moment. So the bond in this case, this is the first part of the bond that I call the Zen sit. The Zen sit is a normal sit, and I want him to look up and hold eye contact with me. When he does that, it stimulates oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone, and so we're improving and growing the bond. This is what I call the Zen down, and the Zen down is just a down, and goes into, flips the hip over, and I click on reward and put the food on the ground. Now what's happening there is when the hip flips over like that, and he's in a down, but he's relaxed that dorsal muscle, that activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the learning state, which is what I'm after at all times. And then when the bond goes,
Look at that beautiful bond gaze.
The bond gaze that further reinforces that bond, and that's of course a big part of what it's about. You notice I'm using the clicker, so the clicker here is very much a marker, so it marks as he sits. I click, and there's a video on our Facebook there. You can follow how to do the clicker training. When he goes down, I click when his chest hits the ground, and then when he rolls his hip over, I click again. And that marks the zen down, which I'm after, which is this relaxed state, which puts him into a nice, calm state and is a peak learning state.
So why is this bond work so particularly important? I mean, it's important always, but why particularly important in this time?
Well, in this unprecedented time, where working in direct contact with people is impossible, then what we need to achieve is a really strong bond, so the pup is looking to you for direction, and so that's a big part of what I'm doing with the bond, other than it's building the extended family and really getting that bond going. But what I want to be able to do is go out into, as I do in a little backpack or front pack, take him out, and I'm click and rewarding when he's looking at people, at other dogs, when he's doing the things that I want him to do in a pro-social way. So when he's being pro-social, social and friendly, I click and reward him, and so I'm going about the best I can to actually socialise him through this time. So you'll see us on some of our videos on the virtual school, down at below the high tide line at the beach, and on walks with my Virkon spray. Take my Virkon spray with me when I go, so I can spray the areas, remembering that they've got the vaccinations. They're through their first, once they're through a week after their first vaccine, they're okay to manage out there, and that means you've got to be a little bit more careful, but you can take them out, and you need to take them out. So the last part of the bond, which becomes the heel, is the follow response. So I trot them along beside me. This becomes the heel command in the long one. So I'm just luring them around, holding eye contact at intervals, and starting the heel command. This is actually stimulating also the follow response, and that follow response is also one of the major ancient bonding routines that the dogs and the wolves used to go through and still go through.
Somebody's got a dachshund, Mark, and they're having trouble with the down.
Yeah.
And there are a few breeds that are a little bit more tricky.
A few breeds that are a bit more difficult, the short coupled breeds and the long coupled breeds, like the Daxi. And so when you go down the front and along the ground, so you're literally going down his chest, and
I might try that again.
Go down again, so just straight down his chest to the ground, and then just out a little bit, and he should go into a down. If you're having real difficulty doing it, you can put Pup up on a table with a mat on it and on a lead, careful not to let him fall off, but oftentimes those dogs work better when you're not standing over the top of them so much, and you're working them up at a little bit of height. Good boy. Good boy. Good. And so those are the basics to joining up, and as I said, go onto our virtual puppy school, and you'll see me go into more detail of how to do that, but it's a very simple process. When you've got the clicker going and you've got them on the lead and the collar, then that makes it even easier, but you can do it without them. So get stuck in and do those ones. And
so there's a couple of questions. A few people have asked, what kind of range of treats do you use?
Yeah, so you can see what I'm doing here is I'm varying between a number of different treats.
So you've got
and
the kibble.
I like to preferably work them. I've got them on Pro Plan Puppy Small. So these little ones. So if he's in normal working mode, that's good. You can also use their treats. I also go up a level to a little dog roll and some chicken. If I want to get really high up in the palatability stakes, and some of the Purina treats are really good for that too. So, but I'm varying the value of the reward based on how much drive the pup has and whether he's getting a little bit over it. So
And what do you do with puppies that appear not to have much food drive?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So what you're wanting to do quite early, you see we start these guys as early as 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. And so when we're just starting to get onto hard food, and so what you're really trying to do is I restrict their morning diet to my training food. So I'm just working with my training food. I might give them a little bit of brekkie, but just a little bit. So, and then I get straight into their morning session. And what I'm doing is just pairing up the food with the clicker. And so pairing it up is just throwing it out there and just clicking when they eat it. So you're just getting them used to. Oh, that was a big feast.
Lucky puppy.
So I'm clicking as he eats it, and that starts to get him to activate the appetite centre, and he gets better and better. The clicker will start to improve his desire for working food, which is what we're doing.
Jess said her dog's a bit upset because she can hear the clicker, but she's not getting any treats. So good on you, Jess. You've obviously done some great clicker work that your dog understands what's going on. Sorry to disappoint your dog.
The good news is that I have put the pups on a clip station, and I'll be working one pup, and the other pups are on the clip station. Maybe my dogs are too, or in their crates, and they learn very quickly that while you're working that pup. So building that bond is really critical. We'll just go back and have a little look over here at our setup for house training, just so you can get a little bit of a feel for what I've done for house training.
Training's also an important part of...
House training is very important at this age, and you want to get that sorted early because this is when they're learning. So remember what you're doing. You've got your crate. I've got 2 pups in here, so you've got your little crate here. Jovi, come. Pop them in so you can see. Good boy. So he goes. So basically, the pup's in here, and this is the setup that I've got as a little crate for the 2 pups. They've got a little indoor area here with the door open. I've got a mat down in front of the crate and a pee pad for night. And I close this door at night, and that closes, and they stay in this area overnight. Sometimes I close them into the crate. And they've got a little bit of deck and straight out onto the grass, and a nice big grass area down there to play in. So that allows them to actually learn to get onto grass easily. So there's only a couple of metres ideally across the deck. I always walk them out and tell them go toilet. And anytime I bring them inside, I take them out, go toilet, bring them in. You've got 15 minutes of clear time to let them trot around with you, and then they go down onto the clip station. So when I pop them on the clip station, you can see he's already out here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a little trickster, isn't he?
So we've got a
So
couple
this
of
is the clip
questions
station
about how important the clicker is, Mark.
The clicker, in my opinion, the clicker is the most important tool that you use when you're training a pup or a dog. So notice I'm just popping him on the clip station there. He's been trained to go on the clip station now, so he's got a little chew bone. Yeah, the clicker is really important because it gives them a mark, an accurate mark for them to be able to respond exactly to what you want them to do. Remember, they don't know what you want them to do, so the clicker marks that behaviour. Just flick over here to what's going on here on the clip station. So I've trained them to go on the clip station. The clip station is just a little light chain, so you can't chew it. Just clip to the chair, big heavy chair there. You can clip it into the wall. Notice he's just chewing his chew bone on there. So the importance of the clip station is the other part to the bond that goes with the crate, and it's the den site attachment that we want. We want them to get attached to little den areas, the crate and the clip stations. The good news about these is you can use them for house training as well. So when they're on the clip station, they won't toilet. If they're in a contained space, they won't toilet. The same in the crate. And so you're using that nest site inhibition to soil as your driver to teach them to house train. So when I pop him on there for 15 minutes odd, he gets on here, hangs in, and relaxes, sleeps, chews his bone, and I'm careful with this chair because it's he could get into that chair a little bit, and so I'm conscious this is a temporary position. I've got another one over in the lounge there, which is in a safer place with a clip to the wall, and so that gives them the ability to stay on that.
So we've got some questions around teaching separation, so it seems a good time to talk about it with a clip station.
Yeah, so, and that's a really important one, because what we're going to get is, because you're 24/7 home with your dog at the moment, by necessity, then one of the problems that's going to arise is potentially that they'll suffer separation distress when you go back to work. So you need to start separating them regularly through the day now as well. So in this case, we pop them in the clip station. We've got the crate. We put him out the back, just close the door, and he spends an hour or two just doing that while both of them get a chance to just learn that they can be separated, and they've got to make their own fun. Leave them with lots of stimulating toys and lots of things to do to make sure that they stay in that situation comfortably and without getting anxious, and slowly stretch it and make it longer. We call graduated departure, gradually lengthening the time as you depart. So that's really important. So separation is an important one that we're treating on the virtual puppy school and showing you how to do that. The other one that is absolutely critical, of course, is socialisation. And the socialisation is the fundament. So in socialisation, we talk about human socialisation, going to mixed meeting and extending the family to mixed races, age classes, older people, young people, kids, toddlers. So you need to do that. Because we're in lockdown, we're trying to we're in this unusual situation where trying to create this situation to work around the socialisation needs. So we're doing things like Kim gets dressed up and comes up, with hats on and all different garb, and it appears like she's a stranger coming into the house, and we do a meet and greet when she does that. And that meet and greet is a technique that we teach, and it's basically. Let me show you the meet and greet. Hey, is that the meet and greet? Is that the meet and greet? There's that lead. Hey. So the meet and greet is teaching them a formal way of introducing to people, and so. Good boy. Hey, that's good. Good boy. Come. Sit. So when I meet and greet someone, I bring them into his Zen sit, and the person's coming in. I'll treat Kim as my visitor there. And I give her a little food treat, and I bring them forward, ask them to sit nicely, give the nicely cue, and I touch, good, sit. Good, put your hand out, and I'll say touch, good. And then the visitor gives her a food reward as well.
So this is something you can practice with your family members right now, and then when we get back into the big wide world, your pup will be experienced and you'll be experienced in meet and greets.
Yeah, so I'm cueing it with the nicely command. So what I'm cueing him into is a pro-social response, a social friendly response to people. And by teaching him a touch target, where I tell him to touch and food or water. Good boy, eating over it, are you? You eating over it?
Yeah, it's a big day.
Hey, good boy. Hey, maybe we can do it. Good boy. Good boy. Zen down. Good
So
boy.
a question was asked, Mark. Somebody has been doing some of that dress-up work, and they used a mask, and their pup barked at them.
Yes.
What do you think they should do?
Well, we had that happen too yesterday. We did the same. We had a mask on, and of course it's a bit frightening when they first start with the mask. So what I do is I try and get the pup to bond gaze to me. What's this thing? We've got a little bit of that, hey? Just grab a little bit of the chicken, hey? Starting to get, when they get a little bit over their work, just up the ante, give them a bigger paycheck. Good boy. Although this is a longer session for a little pup like this. So what was that question again, Sophie?
Somebody was doing the dress up with a mask, and the pup barked at her, which is an important thing to respond to well to.
Yeah, so it's always a matter with fears and phobias that are potentially developing is to break the experience down into small pieces. So start without the mask, then add the mask in, so the pup gets clipped and rewarded when you come up without the mask on. Just wind things back a little bit until they're not so reactive, and then introduce the mask. For example, when they're sitting there, pop the mask on rather than appear as a different individual with the mask. So you're just trying to break it down into little pieces so they can learn to do that behaviour and be clicked and rewarded for sociable responses rather than fearful responses. Oftentimes the sociable responses will actually start to develop once you do more practice and exercise in that situation. Hey?
Right, so maybe the last thing we can talk about then is the final thing is fears and phobias and the importance of doing work with your pup on that.
Yeah, well, let's show you now. I think we've got something to bang and play there, Kim. And so we also do a thing called Sounds Scary. You can pull that off iTunes or YouTube, and it's got all different noises. So we use that to desensitise them. You get them into a learning state. So Kim's going to just do some low level.
Why is this work important?
Yeah, it's really important to develop their ability to come from fear and out of fear into a relaxed state quickly. And it's that emotional resilience that we're after in terms of fears and phobias. The earlier you do your noise work, the better. And it should be done in the 4 to 10 week stage, but you can still continue it. So we're just going to do some.
And so in our current circumstances, our lives might be a little bit more closed down and a little bit quieter. So this work is particularly important.
Yeah, it is.
So we start with a low sound and just keep the...
Noticing that, but he's not overreacting, so that's good. So we're starting at a low level. Okay, Kim can up the ante a little bit now. He's responding, he's orienting, but he's not overreacting, he's not barking or running away. Notice his ears back though, he's noticing it, he knows what's going on. And so I'm keeping him clipped and rewarded for this. Good boy, let's see. Good boy.
So you know when he's still eating that he's tolerating this, which is an important sign.
Okay, you can go up a bit louder now. So see what we're doing? This is called a desensitisation hierarchy. So we're slowly increasing the fearful stimulus as he succeeds. And when we get to the point where he can't succeed and he's getting fearful, we withdraw and go backwards. And each day we step it up and up and up. So that's called desensitisation and counter-conditioning. And counter-conditioning is using the clicker, which is switching him into a learning state and keeping him in a learning state for doing the right behaviour.
So you've got to make sure you also take this food out of their diet, so you adjust their breakfasts and dinners so you don't overfeed your pups. So we've got loads of questions, so we'll come in later and we'll give some tips where we can. We've got lots of questions about adult dogs. So we've got another Facebook Live with Purina at the end of April. But also just keep a lookout on our Facebook page as well, because we're giving adult dog tips as well, because obviously they're going to be facing their own challenges as well. But maybe we'll just summarise with just reminding people what are the 4 critical things they should be doing with their new pups in this time.
So for remember the Zen sit is a big one. So getting that Zen sit, he's just getting over it now. So what's he? Good. The Zen down. And he comes down, rolls his hip over, and drop the food between his feet. Remember the heel, walking around doing the heel, it's called the join up. So you can hook on and look on Virtual Puppy School and watch us doing the join up regularly each day. We also, fears and phobias, so we want us to get them used to vacuum cleaners and noises and all the different things around the home right from the start. Socialisation, we're trying to mock up socialisation during this time, so we can actually get that if starting to get really effective. So when we do get back to normality, we can start to use the nicely command in that context as well. And the house training, you saw how I've got my house training set up there. And so set something up similar, try and get your clip station going, and you can go and have a run now.
He's done a good job.
And so you can get that clip station going and your crate station work going, get him so he's able not to toilet in the house, and he can actually start to every day, move around the house in a more relaxed fashion. Let them out to the toilet before you bring them in, and you've got 15 minutes to half an hour to relax, and then you should go on the clip station or back out after a little while. Great, good luck with your work. We'll see you on Virtual Puppy School if you can make it, and we'll see you back here with Purina in our next one. We'll post that Facebook Live as soon as everything's planned, and we'll tell you what we're going to do.
Great. Thanks so much for coming. It's
Thanks for
such
coming.
critical work, and it's really good to see such committed puppy owners. So best of luck with it all.
Have a great day. See you
Bye
later.
now.